And we begin tonight with the damage left behind from what was once Hurricane Hillary. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. Talk about a history-making event, a tropical storm carving a wide swath through a part of the country where tropical cyclones are nearly unheard of. NBC's Aaron McLaughlin takes us through the flooding and the mudslides in a state that broke rainfall records, but somehow saw no serious injuries.
Tonight across the Southwest, they're doing their best with the destruction Tropical Storm Hillary left behind. In San Bernardino National Forest, panic and devastation. A massive mudslide barreling down the highway Sunday evening. Firefighters stranded, the debris narrowly missing resident Vicki Jelly Ross's house.
The mud is all the way across and all the way down the street.
What did it sound like?
Worse than thunder. I didn't know if it was going to come over the top of this hill or into the house.
Now the race is on to clear the road and free a town trapped by the mud. Across the Southwest, officials assess the damage. In the Mojave Desert, an 18-wheeler up to its windows in mud. With rainfall records set across the region, Palm Springs narrowly avoiding disaster after the 911 emergency lines temporarily went down, as 50% of their average annual rainfall fell in only 6 hours. Entire neighborhoods blanketed in sludge, residents evacuated by bulldozers.
The 10 being washed out both directions, that's not a good sign.
In Mexico, water rushed the roads. While Los Angeles avoided the worst of the storm, the rapid rain did leave firefighters pulling this car from the LA River. Elsewhere, others looked on in disbelief.
And then you come and then out of nowhere your car's floating.
Incredibly, no injuries or deaths reported in the U.S. Tonight, a sigh of relief. This could have been so much worse.
Incredible pictures considering it's August, Matt. What's going on with the storm in Oregon and beyond now?
It's impressive how much rain the remains of Hillary dropped in Oregon, specifically eastern Oregon. Look at these totals. Richland is east of Baker City, basically, still in Baker County. 3.3 inches of rain there. That's the most I saw in Oregon from Hillary. Halfway Oregon, not far from Richland, over 2.5 inches. Mount Howard, if you know that area, it's up by Joseph. You can take the tram up there, 1.8 inches up in the Wallowa Mountains there. Steens Mountain, the normally dry Steens Mountain had over 1 inch. And Andrews, which is on the east side of the Steens, it's just about the driest place in Oregon. Averages about 7 inches of rain a year. Picked up a tenth of their annual average just in a day. 3/4 of an inch there. So it really was impressive. Some other locations that are a little more familiar to you. LeGrand had 1/3 of an inch. Baker City, though, 1.36, and down in Ontario, 1.5 inches. So it really came down hard for that eastern quarter of the state. Now, the remains of Hillary have washed out up into Canada now. What you're seeing over Oregon, though, more showers and thunderstorms happening at this hour. This is courtesy of a storm that was spinning around San Francisco for much of the weekend and is still sending moisture our way. The other big story in weather in Oregon is the smoke, which is gradually clearing out. This is from our Timberline Live Sky Cam. The smoke still there in the Cascades before sunset, but it was thinning. The air quality indices all around Oregon and around the Portland area are in the good category. Still some pretty bad air near Sisters and Bend, but that was the case, of course, before the weekend because they're so close to those fires, and the smoke will continue to shift and move away from western Oregon. So the smoke is clearing. We've got 90s in the forecast. We'll talk about that in a bit. David, back to you.
Thank you, Matt. And let's talk about the smoke a little bit more because in eastern Washington, 2 deadly wildfires continue to burn. Crews are starting to get a handle on what is called the Gray Fire that is southwest of Spokane. It is now 10% contained, though officials are worried tonight. And some people are trying to get back to their homes that are still in the evacuation zone. They are warning that fire activity can change at a moment's notice and put them at risk again. We are also hearing more stories of heroism from Friday night when these fires began. Josh Bartholomew came to the rescue of residents in wheelchairs who were trying to flee the flames.
I just see a fireball up behind the white building, and my reaction was like, oh crap, I need to make sure they're evacuating.
And they did. He and about 50 other neighbors pushed the group uphill for about a 1/4 mile until everybody was safe. One person did die from the Gray Fire. A second person died in the Oregon Road Fire that is burning northeast of Spokane. Still burning out of control tonight, by the way. Each is now spread across more than 10,000 acres. Let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now. The Portland Timbers have fired head coach Giovanni Savarese. It comes on the heels of a 5-0 blowout yesterday in Houston. 5-0. Savarese has been with the club for 5 years and led the team to 2 MLS Cup finals, but the team has really struggled this year. Assistant coach Miles Joseph will serve as interim head coach for the remainder of the season. Portland now officially has 4 new city council districts. Tonight, the Independent District Commission unanimously adopted this new map. It's part of a voter-approved plan to change how residents are represented and how the city is run. In 2024, Portlanders will elect 3 council members from the district they live in using ranked choice voting for a total of 12 city council members. The mayor will be elected separately. And 36 people have been arrested in the latest efforts to bust shoplifters. Portland police say they ran a sting at Mall 205 Friday and caught 25 people. They say they also recovered 4 stolen cars, 3 guns, and illegal drugs. Tigard police did their own bust at several stores the same day. They arrested 13 people. 5 of those were teenagers. Well, from outlawing some fentanyl possession to banning ghost guns to reforming the state's public defender system, tonight, Oregon has a long list of new laws, ones the governor says are all about working to keep people safe. Alma McCarty is in the newsroom tracking those changes. Alma.
Well, David, these 7 bills signed into law today cover a lot of ground, and one that sticks out, House Bill 2005. It's scaled down from a stricter gun control proposal, focusing now on solely banning so-called ghost guns, untraceable and undetectable firearms.
Thank you to the many gun violence prevention advocates who fought alongside of us to pass this legislation for 4 sessions running. Your persistence paid off.
Oregon Attorney General Ellen Rosenblum applauding the tireless work of groups like Moms Demand Action for helping pass one of her top priorities this legislative session, a ban on ghost guns.
Guns assembled at home from online kits or made from instructions on 3D printers are weapons of choice for gun traffickers and for those who cannot otherwise legally obtain a gun. More and more, these ghost guns are being used to commit crimes with the knowledge that law enforcement will have a difficult or maybe even an impossible time connecting the perpetrator.
An earlier and more expansive version of this bill would have raised the minimum age to purchase most guns and would have given municipalities across the state an option of prohibiting firearms in public buildings. Those elements cut out after the 6-week Republican walkout.
We know House Bill 2005 did generate some controversy in the legislature, and I want to thank the legislators, the advocates, for getting that bill across the finish line.
Governor Kotek also signed into law 6 other public safety bills. One provides more funding for training and classes at the state's police academy.
This will put officers in service more quickly while maintaining DPSST's high standards of safety and quality.
Another will expand the services and compensation for crime victims. During the ceremonial signing, the governor touted a bipartisan effort in passing a bill to increase the penalties for fentanyl possession.
House Bill 2645, which will make it easier for us to hold individuals accountable for those individuals who possess more than 1 gram of fentanyl.
I want to be clear, this is not about putting people in jail. It is about getting people treatment and recovery.
Yet another one of these public safety bills signed into law will begin to overhaul Oregon's public defense system. The governor says a lack of representation means justice denied to both defendants and the victims of their alleged crimes when cases are dismissed. The KGW investigative team covered this issue in depth. You can find out more on this and other new laws on KGW.com. David?
Yeah, widely understood that so much needs to be done there. Thank you, Alma. Appreciate that update. Developing this evening in national headlines, former President Donald Trump says he will turn himself into authorities in Georgia on Thursday, marking his 4th arrest on criminal charges. The latest indictment stems from accusations he illegally schemed to overturn his 2020 election loss in that state. Trump's announcement on a social media platform that he'd be going to Atlanta Thursday came just hours after Fulton County announced his bond would be set at $200,000. The prosecutor has proposed arraignments for the week of Labor Day, with the trial to begin by March. Trump faces racketeering charges alongside 18 other defendants. He remains the leading candidate for the GOP nomination for president, though he's set to skip the first Republican primary debate that is set for Wednesday night.